Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Expansive Astrology Academy Aries season. Pyrotechnics. Maybe next year. Maybe next year. I'll have a pyrotechnics budget. Welcome. I'm Melissa O'Malley, your host. Welcome to Aries season, Beach. I'm so excited. This energy is potent. It is fiery. It is feisty. Are you ready? Are you ready? I'm so ready. If you couldn't tell, I'm so ready. I'm not even too sure where to start. And that is very like Aries energy of me. All right, let's start from the beginning, shall we? Today I'm going to share a lot with you about Aries and what Aries is and what it brings, the archetype of Aries, what it's related to, how you can kind of find it in nature and in your inner and outer world. And then we're going to use that framework and that idea to focus on the work of the season, the work of the month ahead. This work is big. Remember, Aries kicks off the start of the astrological new year, and I think it is just so beautiful and fitting that the theme of Aries is the self. The mantra, the saying for Aries is, I am. Breathe into that for a moment. Just before we even really look at what it means and what it is and how we're going to use it, take a moment and just think of those words, I am. What comes up for you? At this time or any time, feel free to pause and do a little bit of journaling. Sometimes I'll directly ask you to do that. And this might be a good time. What organically, automatically comes up for you when you think, I am? When you think of self? What is your sense of self like? Think on it. And maybe bring that to the group so we can all share with you. I am. So I'm going to share with you what Aries is and what that brings and how you can find it in your inner and outer world. And then it's time for the work, baby. We're going to do a whole lot of work around the self. Sort of the four headings or themes that I've broken this down into is how we approach the world, how we are in relation to the world, the impression we make, which is like kind of the same thing, but the impression we make in the world as we approach it. So I guess it's not the same thing. Our effectiveness, how effective are you as you approach the world? And how confident are you as you approach the world? This Aries is a lot about self-confidence, voice, space, being, just being. And it's a perfect, most beautiful, most aligned, wonderful start to the new year. To really dig into these concepts and this idea and how are you in the world? What is your relationship like with the world? How does the world see you? How do you get your needs met? And is it effective? Are you confident in getting your needs met? How can you do that even better? It's some big work here this season, huh? It's gonna be awesome. So our focus for this season, for the next month-ish, is I am. And I encourage you to put that in the corner of your calendar or something, just make that the topic, your mantra for the month. And you can fill in the blank there with whatever you want it to be. But your focus for the next month while you're in this experiment, while you're in this cosmic ride that is Expansive Astrology Academy, your focus, your mantra is I am. Your focus is the self. And I spoke in the welcome video about selfishness and making sure that your idea of selfishness and your relationship with selfishness is in check and that you don't have any mindset blocks around that. And Aries is especially inviting you to do some checking and some work around that. Yes, let's dive in a little more. So Aries, don't mind me as I flip back and forth in my notes. I got a lot going on here. Aries is a powerful sign. It gives birth to the new year. It bursts in with power and no shame and an inner knowing and a confidence, and it is, like I said, it's shameless. It gives birth to the new year. I first heard it compared to a newborn baby, or giving birth to a newborn baby by a tarot teacher named Lindsay Mack. And that is the most descriptive way that I've ever conceptualized Aries. I've been present for a birth, and if you've ever given birth or been present for a birth, it ain't no joke. Everyone knows. Anyone who witnesses it is aware, and the world changes when a newborn baby comes. when the newborn baby doesn't care about the tearing. The newborn baby doesn't care about the placenta it's leaving behind. It doesn't care about how much noise it's making as it learns its lungs in this new space. It doesn't care about any sort of discomfort it causes or alarm. It's gonna ask for its needs to be met, right? Beautiful energy. So Aries is a fire sign. And boy, is it ever. Fire is strong. That seems so reductive. Fire is fierce. It has power. It has the power to heat and warm and sustain and cleanse and provide. It also has the power to fucking destroy and tear through anything in its path. And Aries is the first sign of fire. It is potent fire. It brings the fire, baby. That's why next year I need to invest in some pyrotechnics. It is a masculine sign. And when in this program, when we use the words masculine and feminine, we're not referring to male and female. We're not referring to gender. Masculinity and masculine traits can be seen in everyone, regardless of gender. Same with femininity and feminine traits. And it's just important to make that distinction right off the bat. Aries is ruled by Mars. It also is ruled by the tarot card, the Emperor. Or it rules the Emperor. Not sure which way that goes. It also has a correspondence with the Tower. I believe Mars is corresponded with the Tower. Now, I'm going to move a little bit into what those tarot cards mean and what the energies of those tarot cards bring. The Emperor, the Emperor is the fourth card in the tarot, and it is kind of what you think of it as. Think of an emperor, for better or for worse. An emperor rules. Fucking rules. No, just kidding. The Emperor rules, right? It's a beautiful invitation to consider, what type of emperor are you? What type of emperor are you over your life? Are you a dictator? Or are you a leader? You know, what kind of advocate are you? How do you exhibit leadership and control over your life? The Emperor, it rules. It's a very powerful energy. How do you embrace power and leadership in your life? Now, the Tower is a frequently feared card. The Tower brings a swift change that usually nobody really asked for. The Tower can be disruptive. It can really rock our world. It shakes up our foundation. It is swift, baby, like as is Aries. It brings the fire. In many tarot decks and in the Pamela Coleman Smith Rider-Waite tarot decks, it looks somewhat like this. There's often a lot of fire around it and a lightning strike striking a tower. Fire. The Tower and the Emperor are not bad cards. They're not bad. They're not bad energies at all. And if you refer back to the rules from the welcome video, nothing is bad. None of these energies are bad or good or any of that. Now, these energies can show up in really uncomfortable ways. They can show up in very contractive, unhelpful, dickish, overcrowding, destructive ways, right? And they cannot. Both of these energies, all of these energies can be very powerful and potent and empowered and empowering and helpful and guiding. And that's what we're going to be aiming for. So what we're going to do in this season, in this program, is look at how we currently live with these energies. How comfortable are we with these things? We're going to bring the unconscious or the subconscious to light and take a peek at it so that you can handle it better, so that you can go from there and adjust from there, and bring anything that is in a lot of contraction and a lot of fear or a lot of shadow side, ineffective energy. We're going to bring all of that, take a peek at it, and hopefully transform it into the opposite. More expansive, aligned, higher vibrational, more effective behaviors and energies. Okay? Okay. Yes? Yes. Okay. Let me take a sip of tea. Okay. We're going to move into... Just kidding. Before we move into what I didn't say yet, I want to pause really quick. Given what I've said so far, what is your relationship like with these things? What is your relationship like with swift, unknowing change, like the Tower? What is your relationship like with the Emperor or emperors of your life, or being an emperor over your life? What does that bring up for you? I really want to have a clear idea of where you are now, or I really want you to have a clear idea of where you are now, so that we can have a clear idea of just how much you're about to grow. Okay. Also, take a moment to set some goals. Right off the bat, do you have an idea of what you would like this to look like? Also, consider this a new year. This is a new year. Think of where you were around this time last year, and how many deaths you've died, how many times you've been awakened, how far you have come. It's usually very potent, moving from March to March. What are your goals for the coming year? Let's keep talking about Aries. We're going to hop into what Aries looks like, what this energy looks like when it's in alignment and when it is expanded and conscious and intentional. And then we're going to talk a little bit about when it is not those things. When Aries energy, Emperor energy, Tower energy is not in alignment, and when it's contracted and a little shadowy and less intentional. Okay? So, now remember, none of this is good or bad. None of this is meant to be shaming. It all just is. And it shows up in all of us in both ways, in all kinds of different ways, if you know what I mean. Okay? So, Aries in alignment is confidence. It is altruistic. It's a leader. Aries in alignment is going to get shit done, especially when considering like the greater good or like defending those who need it. Aries is brilliant at defending itself and those who need it. It's a leader. Aries is creative. It will get the job done. It will think outside of the box to get the job done. When it has an idea or a goal or a need, it's gonna meet it. It's gonna make it happen. It'll be damned. And it has it has a fire behind it. It has like I don't know how else to put it. A drive. Like when it knows, when it's ready, when it's prepared, when it makes a decision, it's gonna do it. Like it's impulsive in that way, which could be good or bad. And we're talking about Aries in alignment, right? So positive impulsivity that doesn't cause any sort of destruction or harm, right? Aries is open-hearted, it's feisty, it's funny, it's aware, it's let's see, it's not afraid, it's aware, right? Like it's not afraid to be kind of out there at all. I think it knows when it's in alignment, it knows its impact. It's very aware of its impact as it puts itself out there. I hope that makes sense. It has a lot of conviction. Like it will stand by its damn self. When it makes a decision, it knows. I have this huge smile on my face as I speak about it because it's such a beautiful energy to have when it's in alignment. It's inspiring. It's so decisive. Fear does not get in the way. Fear does not get in the way. It's energetic, enterprising, optimistic. It's open to change. Like I mentioned, the newborn baby doesn't miss the placenta. Aries doesn't miss, well, I was going to say Aries doesn't miss what used to be or where it used to be. That might not necessarily be true, but it doesn't let fear of missing what used to be hold it back from what's next. It's courageous in that way. It's idealistic, straightforward, pretty damn transparent. There's no hiding. There's no hiding Aries. As well as the, newborn analogy, I also think of a seed leaving its shell or a sprout leaving its shell. It bursts through, it creates destruction, it bursts through, and it doesn't miss that shell. And we don't know the seedlings, the sprouts, inner world or its process, right? And we can assume, no, maybe it is quite like us. Maybe it is quite like us. And while it's about to burst through the shell, maybe it's like, oh my God, like I'm so safe in here. Like I've grown to fit it quite nicely. I get, everything I need in this shell. Like I don't know if I want to burst out. Maybe it does have a lot of fear. And it does it anyway. It does the damn thing. It bursts out of the shell, out of the seed, and it travels through the darkness, through the dirt, and it has a sense of knowing and trust and faith. It just follows its way up. It follows the sun. It follows the fire. It's Aries in alignment. Moving on to Aries not in alignment. Oh boy. If you are a Game of Thrones fan, the Emperor or Aries in alignment would be Jon Snow. A leader, a model, he got shit done, even if it wasn't most popular. He said what he needed to say. Jon Snow. The Emperor or Aries not in alignment would be Daenerys' brother. Don't know his name. Blondie boy. That would be Aries or the Emperor not in alignment. Not cute behavior. Not a good leader. Not well respected. Aries not in alignment is angry. It is destructive fire. It is the Emperor that like you're afraid of. Aries not in alignment has a lack of follow through. It will like boom, 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 burst, burst, burst. Like I'm gonna do this and that and the other. Like it has no clear direction, but it's got a whole lot of fucking fire, right? It's like not a controlled fire. Fire when it's controlled can like really, really help. I don't know. I'm not a farmer. Sorry. I know controlled fires can be very, very helpful and positive. Uncontrolled fires are destructive and damaging and dangerous and terrifying. Let's see. Aries energy not in alignment is sulky. It is like it can't handle it. It can't handle when it doesn't get its way. Because Aries in alignment will like fight and like go and make shit happen. Aries not in alignment is the opposite of that. It's a dictator and it's gonna throw fits and it wants things to just happen for it. Like it's not gonna do anything about it. It just wants. Okay, sorry. I'll stop doing that. It throws fits. It's sulky. It's disempowered. It doesn't use its fire. It just like spouts its fire. Not very cute. It can't handle boredom. It can't handle not getting its way. It is impulsive in a dangerous and damaging way. It doesn't think through things. It just it just goes and moves, creating damage. It doesn't really care. It overworks. It's overworking. It's distracting and distractible. It's opinionated and domineering, and it takes up too much space. It's impatient. It's vain. It's like a vain leader and model rather than like a leader and model that, models positive things, wellness for others. I'm not going to keep making Game of Thrones references, but I really want to. It's dictating. It's the dictator. It yells and shouts and screams and it has no awareness of its impact on others. Remember, a lot of Aries and thinking of I am and thinking of the self has to do with how you are in the world and the impression you make upon the world. How effective are you at running your world? Are you in alignment or are you not? Are you empowered? Are you an empowered emperor? Do you look for solutions? Do you seek to rule your world in a way that you can be proud of, in a way that others can look up to and aspire to? Or are you not those things? Are you a little impulsive and impatient and flighty and domineering and, you know, and I think we all have, I know that we all have moments where we fluctuate between the two. How do those things show up for you and when? Journal on that. I don't know why I really wanted to say that with an attitude. Journal on that for a bit. See what comes up for you, what kind of life-changing shit comes. Okay, sorry. I'm feisty. I got some candles going with some fire. I've got those tarot cards out to inspire me. And it's Aries season officially. We're kicking off. It's fun. It's free. When we are able to embrace this energy, it's such a beautiful, freeing thing. And let's move into that a little more. So, let me take a sip. Ask yourself, or I'll ask, you answer, journal on it, think about it. How are you with leading? I want to remind you that you are a leader. You, whoever you are a leader. People see you. How do you feel about that? Might scare you. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe you love it. Either way. You are seen. You are a model. People look up to you. They like you. They dig you. They look to you to see how to be. How does that feel? Is it scary? Does it excite you? Does it inspire you? Can you be more aligned? Can you be a better leader? Have you ever considered yourself a leader before? Now, yeah. I hope this goes without saying, and I'm going to say it. This looks different for everybody. I'm asking what type of leader you are, how you show up in your world. So, this doesn't mean that, I don't know. I hope this goes without saying, but this doesn't mean you have to be any type of way. It doesn't mean that you have to be loud or dictating or, of course, or doesn't mean you have to put yourself out there more and be more of a leader and a model. That's not what I mean. I mean, you are a leader of your own world, whatever that looks like. You can be a quiet leader. You can be an introverted leader. I am, trust me. I know I'm like putting myself out there on the internet right now doing this, but like I'm a quiet, anxious, shy leader. What kind of leader do you want to be? Ask yourself, or I'll ask, you answer, how do you do with control? Or better, lack of control? What happens when plans shift on you? How do you deal? Do you become a disempowered, contracted, dictating emperor? Or do you stay aligned and expanded and expansive and go with the flow? What kind of leader are you? Or how are you with control? How do you do with change? How do you do with the tower when the lightning strikes down and kind of shows you like, ooh, like that foundation was shaky. I need to rebuild that a little bit. Like, even if it's hella uncomfortable and not what you would have chosen, how do you do in tower moments? Do you become very scared and disempowered and victimized? Love to you if you do. I love you if you do. I do too sometimes. Do you want to react that way? Can you maintain a more expanded, aligned, Emperor-y, confident, in control space? Can you remain within a space of ease and grace and control, even when the tower has been knocked down? Scary. And that's what we want to be, right? That's what you want to be. How can you get there? I'll ask, you answer. How are you with space? Are you aware of your space? Are you aware of how much space you take up? Are you hyper aware of how much space you take up? Now, this is a complicated topic. Space happens in all types of ways. Space happens in very logical, physical, practical ways. How many drawers do you take in the dresser? Does your partner need a couple more drawers? How much space do you take up on the subway? You can't see it, but I'm what they call man-spreading right now. Pretty freeing. I feel like an emperor. Do you man-spread when people need a spot? And the opposite might be true too. Especially if you are a feminine person or a female person or a person who's otherwise oppressed in any sort of way. Any sort of oppression takes away our right to space. Racial oppression, gender oppression, sexual identity. How much space do you take up? What is your relationship like with space? I joked about man-spreading, and it's kind of not a joke. Women are taught not to take up space. You can't see, but now I'm doing the opposite. My legs are crossed, real tight. I think back to recently, I was on the shuttle from the airport to our car, and I was sitting so close and so closed up and so tight together. And my partner was next to me, and he didn't have a whole lot of room. And the man next to me had so much room and was taking so much room. And I was uncomfortable. My inner thighs were uncomfortable with how much I had to be squeezing myself. And that is the norm. Go to a bar observe. Go to a bar and observe how people take up space, and what their cultural identities are. Be careful, because you will be assuming what their cultural identities are. But once you start to notice people's relationship with space, it becomes more and more apparent. I want you to notice, I kind of went on a tangent there, but I want you to notice your relationship with space. Were you raised female? Are you a female person? Are you a woman? And do you automatically close your legs and sit very close and very tight? And would you like to not? Would it be nice to just kind of fucking put your feet on the floor every now and then when you're out and about, and somebody cuts in front of you? How much space are you okay with taking up? Do you say something? Do you say, I was in this space and you're crowding me, or you got in front of me? How are you with taking people's taking up people's emotional space? Do you reach out for help when you're needing it, when you're feeling it, when you're wanting it, when you're called to? Or do you say, oh, they're so busy. Oh, she's so busy. She doesn't have time for me. She's got her own shit going on. Are you okay with taking up people's emotional space when you need to? What is your relationship like with space? I'll leave that there. Sorry, long pause. All right. How do you do with opposition? How do you do when people disagree with you or think you're wrong or think that you're doing you wrong? How do you handle it when your parents or your partner or strangers or your doctor, whoever, how do you handle it when they oppose you? It's important to have balance there, right? Do you automatically shut them down and say, fuck you, like I don't need you. I don't. And maybe, sorry, is that what you jump to? Or do you automatically go, oh my God, you are probably right, shit. Do you completely crumble and forget like your conviction in the first place? What is your relationship like with opposition or opposing beliefs or, differing opinions? What do? What kind of emperor are you? Do you banish them off with your head? Or do you just take their advice? Opposition is uncomfortable on either side of those. The contracted response to opposition of like, oh, well, I guess both of those responses are kind of contracted. Whether you're like, oh, well, I must be wrong, you must be right, and yeah, like my opinion was, no second guessing. Very deflated, or it's a different type of contracted, but it's a contractive response to be like, off with your head, fuck you, like I don't need your opinion. Both of those responses might not be the most helpful. They might not be the most aligned, healthy way that you can respond. How do you want to respond to opposition? Being a leader in your life and being somebody that other people look up to, how would you like to respond to opposition? What would feel to you like the most aligned, expanded, way possible to respond? How can you make sure that, like, in hindsight, if you were recorded or, in hindsight, if somebody were to ask you to comment on how you responded to that opposing opinion, would you be able to stand by yourself? Would you be able to stand beside how you responded and what you said and what you did? It's important to consider that all the time. All right. I'm going to move into the homework for this season. Hopefully that has laid a whole bunch of foundational groundwork for you. I'm going to move into the homework of the season. You can find this, I can't decide if I'm going to do a PDF or just a Word doc yet. We'll see. You can find this below in your Aries season documents. And like I said in the welcome video, I encourage you to journal on these things. Take your time. There's a lot of questions here. There's a lot of work to be done here, and you'll be doing yourself a disservice if you just read through it and think on it. You'll get the most out of this when you really dig in and dive in. And if you want a sounding board, if you want some help with this work, let's schedule a call. Absolutely. Let's schedule a call. I'd love to help you dive into this even more and think through this even more. And post your experience to the group. Okay. So we're looking at this season. Oh no. Okay. Okay. Never mind. Sorry. I thought I had a technical difficulty, but we're good. We're rolling. Okay. This season, we're looking at who are you? Who the heck are ya? I know I asked you at the very beginning, what does self mean to you? I want you to take some time, and this will take some time. List your identities. What are your identities? And I'm a bitch, I'm a lover, I'm a child, I'm a mother. What are your identities? You're a child, you're a daughter, you're a mother, you're a coworker, you're a spouse, you are a a former dancer. That's something that comes up for me a lot. I'm a minimalist. That comes up for me a lot. Are you vegan is an identity, right? What are your races? What is your sexual identity? What is your gender identity? Religious identity. Think of your identities. How to yourself and to others, you're a customer. I don't know. What are your identities? How do you show up in the world? That's one of the things that Aries really asks you to consider. How do you show up in the world? What are your identities? Think of the unique ways that they intersect. What is it like to be a Latina lesbian? What do those two identities have to do with each other, and what do they not have to do with each other? What is the relationship between those two things? What is it like to be a bisexual Christian? How do those things impact each other? What is the intersection between your bisexuality and your Christianity? And what does that look like for you? Who are you? Who are you when you're in church versus when you're at the store? Who are you with your spouse versus with your kids? Freak in the sheets, lady in the streets. Sorry. But what are your identities? And how do they intersect? Strip it all back and consider your most... Yeah, just sink into this, strip it all away, and consider your most raw self. By this time you've done a whole bunch of labeling. You've listed, I'm a bitch, I'm a lover, I'm a child, I'm a mother, I'm a sinner, I'm a saint. Okay, sorry. You've listed it all out. You've thought of who you are in church, who you are in the store, who you are at your mom's house, who you are at work, who are you in the club. Who are you? What are you to yourself and to others? Think about it. This is big. It's no small thing that I'm asking right now, because you are a lot. You are a multifaceted, miraculous, crazy, wild, organic, raw, complicated human being. Sparkly, magical creature. There's a lot to you. What are your identities? Now, strip it all away and really just think of your most raw form. Think, take away the expectations and consider your most raw, organic self. What do you know to be true? What do you believe? What are your convictions? What sort of things have you been through? What have you grown through? What do you know? What gives you the right? And I mean that with respect, because you have a damn right. And what gives you the right? What have you been through? What are your identities that give you a goddamn right to have a say here? What have you been through? What do you know? What do you bring into the world? It's big work. It's big work. And if it's hard for you to consider, don't worry. We have a whole season to work with this idea. Now, I know I've asked you 800 questions, but the second question is, the second question or the second topic is, what are your expected selves? That's what I'm calling it. What are your expected selves? What are all the different hats and different masks that you are expected to wear? What are the ways in which you are expected to be? At church, in the grocery store, with your spouse, with your mom, with your kids, with your coworkers, with your boss. What are your expected selves? What do they expect from you? What is it? How does the world expect you to be all of those identities that you listed before? How does the world expect you to be a Latino lesbian? How does the world expect it to look that you're a white cis male? Maybe you're a white cis male. What does that mean? What is expected from that? How are you inauthentic at times? How are you not honoring yourself at times? Where are you neglecting or hiding or quieting your most raw or authentic form? Take a sip. This is the undoing. It's so important to look at what is inauthentic so that you can start to oh shit, undo it. What doesn't feel authentic to you? What is just expected of you? What is a mask? Now, it's normal to have different masks and different roles and different identities at different times. And you don't have to be inauthentic. I'll even argue that you don't ever have to be inauthentic. Some people think it's inauthentic. Some people think they have to be inauthentic in order to get their needs met or in order to be nice. And I don't think that's necessarily true. We can talk more about that later. That's a tangent. Explore your most quiet selves, your most quiet versions of yourself. The pieces of you who have been quieted or oppressed. The pieces of you that are influenced by generational trauma or ancestral oppression or current oppression. Explore your most quiet selves, the pieces of you that have been quieted and historically quieted. Do you come from a lineage? Do you come from lineage that has been oppressed, enslaved, quieted? Are there pieces of your ancestry or history that have just historically been quieted or disrespected or shut down? Do you have a witch wound? I won't go into that here. Consider generational trauma, personal trauma of your parents and your grandparents, and consider your identities that are oppressed in society today and historically. What do those pieces of you bring to your table? What did those pieces of you bring to your empire, and how have they been quieted? How can you honor them and have a voice for them being those pieces of you? This is big work. I'm not finding the right words. Possibly because I'm not finding the right words because it is such big work. And I'm a white woman. I'll say it how it is. I only have so much in my lineage and in my history that has been oppressed, Aries also asks us to look at our whiteness. If you are a white person like me, and you are asked with Aries to look at how you have taken up space. Living in America here as a white person, unless you're a native, we have taken this space historically in our lineage. We took this space. How does that show up for you now, today? And as a white person, you might feel very quieted by that. Perhaps I do in some ways. I'm having trouble speaking about it, right? These are the big, heavy topics that Aries expects and invites us to look at. What has effectively shut you off to pieces of yourself, to pieces of that, to pieces of your inner knowing? Where are you shut off from self-expression, of your culture, of your religion, of your identities? What has shut you off to expression, expansion, change? Is it your family? Is it the government? Is it society? Was it some prick kids in 6th grade? Was it the mean girls in high school? Was it your abuser? What has made you quiet? What has made you afraid of expression, expansion, and change? Aries season is all about expression, expansion, and change. Damn. So without any judgment, consider what needs to be undone here. When you're considering your quieted selves, your expected selves, your historical selves, your oppressed selves, or pieces of yourself, I guess I should say, what needs to be undone? What would you like to see undone? Okay. Our third topic is space. How you take up space. Aries makes itself known. It takes up space. How do you take up space? Literal, figurative, energetic, online space, in-person space, at home, at work, in your relationship, in the grocery store, in church. When you're alone. When you're with your family. When you're in the bathroom. Do you twerk in front of the mirror? Or does that feel silly to you? Do you hold back? When you're with your partner, right? Do you fart in front of your partner? Are you able to take up space in that way? When you're ordering a coffee, when they get your coffee wrong, how are you with taking up space and time? How do you take up space? Does it make you uncomfortable? Or does it make you uncomfortable when you don't have enough space? You know, there are many people who feel very uncomfortable when they're not being paid attention to. All due respect. How do you do with that? Do you need some work around that? What have you been told about taking up time and space and energy? You know, were you a child who was raised to be seen and not heard? Only speak when spoken to? Were you, somehow taught that your opinion doesn't matter? Are you aware of how much space you hold, or how much space you can hold? How willing are you to expand and take up more space? Are you willing to ask your partner for extra space in the sock drawer? Or does that feel like you're taking up too much space and asking for too much? Is it? Is it? It might feel that way. And is it? Consider. How do you feel about even asking your partner? Hey, I was thinking about asking you for more space in the sock drawer, but then I got to thinking, am I asking too much? How do you feel about taking up that kind of space? Think about it. Let's talk about it. Yes. Next topic is discretion. What is your relationship like with discretion, thoughtfulness? How do you make big decisions? Are you quite recklessly impulsive? Can you control your fire? Or, are you recklessly impulsive, or are you crippled by caution? Either end of the spectrum is probably not that great. Can you bring yourself somewhere in the middle where you're not reckless and impulsive, but you're also not overly cautious, and you're willing to expand and make changes and make decisions and follow the fire. Follow your heart. Follow some motivation. Do you know what you want when you want it? And do you make it known? How do you make decisions? Or like, would you rather other people make decisions for you? Do you second guess yourself a lot? Do you often regret your choices? Let's see, the next topic is change. Tower energy. How do you do with change? How well do you handle what's unknown before you? Do you worry a lot about missing your old shell or your old seed that you used to be in? Do you cling to old homes or comfort zones or old iterations of yourself? Or like, do you openly move through change and growth? How do you do with change? Do you seek change? Are you, most of us are, our brains don't like change. I say this a lot. Our souls seek expansion and adventure and excitement and fun, but our brains, our minds, seek safety and routine and no change. Our brains don't like change. Our souls are, usually, to varying degrees, our soul kind of digs it. How are you with change? How would you like to be with change? The next topic is your voice. And this goes along with space, but when you speak, who are you being? Are you effective with your voice? How well do you advocate for yourself? How well do you advocate for others and the people that you love? Are you too sharp with your tongue? Are you kind of a dick about it? When you speak, who are you being? What kind of emperor are you? What kind of leader are you? What kind of model are you? When you speak, who are you being? When your spouse is being a dumbass, how do you let them know? When the group is asking, or your family is asking what everybody wants for dinner, and you are like, tacos sound good. Or maybe you dreamt of tacos last night, or you woke up thinking about tacos, and you've been thinking about tacos all day, but Jan says pizza. Do you speak up and say, pizza sounds good, I've been thinking about tacos all day, right? When you want tacos, do you tell the group you want tacos, or do you just go with pizza? Pizza's good. Everybody likes pizza. I always use this example of tacos and pizza. I'm passionate about this. If you want tacos, say you want tacos. Aries would want you to. I'm serious. Nobody should eat pizza if they don't want pizza. Sorry for that, but that is the platform that I will die on. I'm really sorry. I knocked something off my desk. I'm passionate about tacos. How do you use your voice? Even if pizza sounds all right to you and you're willing to go with pizza because you're an easygoing person, you're an easygoing guy. You don't want to step on any toes. You don't want to be an asshole emperor. And you're down for pizza. Everybody loves pizza. And what I want to challenge you. Aries asks you to challenge your voice. Even if the whole group says, like, yeah, let's go to pizza, yum. I want to challenge you to be like, tacos does sound good, though. Just say it. Just say it. Say you want the tacos. I'm serious. Okay. Use your voice. How do you use your voice? Or are you a jerk about it? Are you like, pizza? Jan always wants pizza. We never get tacos. Do you turn into that kind of guy? Don't be that guy. Don't be that emperor. You're much more likely to get people on your taco train or your taco truck if you're not a jerk about it. How do you use your voice? Especially when it's been challenged. What is your relationship like with your voice? How much can I talk about tacos and pizza? And I just came up with a challenge for myself that all 12 of the seasons of Expansive Astrology Academy, I hope to have some sort of example about tacos. So tune in next month for more taco talk. All right, the next topic is impulse. What is your relationship like with your impulses? Do you honor your impulses? Do you honor the impulsive child within you? The child who, when you were a little kid, you followed your impulse, man. Have you ever seen a child make a decision? I want a lollipop! Like, I don't know, it might not be the best idea. I've seen a child, like, see something and want it and run, right? Like, children are impulsive. It's a gift and a curse. Thank God we have parents, right? To kind of rein us in. That's why child leashes exist. Sorry. Children are impulsive. Can you honor the impulsive child within you? The child who just wants to scream because it feels good. My little baby cousin, they're not baby cousins anymore. They're like middle school age and old enough to have a moderated Snapchat. And the older one, 12, 13 years old, has to sit in the car, during school days while they wait for the younger one to get out of school. And I assume she's alone in the car. And I can almost always expect to see on her Snapchat story herself just being so silly and loud in the car. And if her guardian was aware, she'd probably be like, what the hell are you doing? But she'll sit in the car and get on her Snapchat story with some silly little filters and just scream, I want to go home! I'm tired of waiting! Just scream at the top of her lungs. And I was watching this like, oh my God, child, like Jesus Christ. And then I remembered how good it felt to just scream as a kid, right? When's the last time, I'm not telling you to just start screaming what you need, right? And when's the last time you did these things that like a child does just because they have the impulse to? Children have such a raw energy to just like do whatever they fucking want to do, whatever feels good. They'll rock their feet back and forth just because it feels good. When's the last time you sat with your legs out in front of you and just rocked your toes back and forth? Because it kind of feels good. Just because it feels good. When's the last time you spun around in a skirt? I don't know if you dig skirts. Just because it feels good. When's the last time you followed your impulse to play, to take a nap without guilt or judgment? When's the last time you just followed an impulse to take a nap without being like doing some sort of like calculations and like bartering with yourself? Can you follow those sorts of impulses? To eat without fucking guilt or shame? What is your relationship like with your impulses? Do you hold yourself back a lot, or the opposite? Do you indulge all of your impulses? Are you a little too indulgent? Are you reckless? Do you get in other people's way? Are you an unmanaged fire when it comes to your impulses? Yes, you are innocent and impulsive like a child. Dig into that. Parent yourself, moderate yourself, be reasonable, and dig into that a little bit. It's fun. The next topic is awareness. Are you strong? Are you aware of how you are in the world? Are you strong or are you headstrong? Are you confident and assertive or are you aggressive? All due respect, so much love to you. Do you have enough awareness around that? How are you in the world? Are you aware of how much space you consume, how much energy you take from people, how much time you take from people? Are you in balance with these things? Are you in balance with your Aries energy? Because when we are aligned, when you are aligned in your behaviors and your impulses and your actions, our emperor, our inner emperor, Aries energy, Mars energy, will never be stepping on toes. So have you been stepping on toes? Gotta be really honest with yourself, and maybe ask the people around you. I don't think that's a bad idea to have a really candid and honest conversation with people that you trust and love and who have your best interest at heart, to ask them like, hey, I'm just working on this and I want to invite you. This might be weird, but I want to invite you to tell me, like, do you feel like I'm respectful of your toes? Ask the people around you if you step on their toes. And be prepared for the answer. You got to present it in a way where they feel safe and open to answer. Because that's a big question, and it's hard feedback to get sometimes, I'll be transparent with y'all, my lovely students. I've had to do a lot of work around my tone. Sometimes I have a tone and it isn't very pretty or comfortable for other people. And I've had to do some work around, I had to ask people, or I have to ask people. I have to have open conversations with people and invite them to let me know if my tone is, if I'm unaware of my tone, I think we all know people who are unaware of themselves, and it's usually not very pretty for the people around them. This month, hone in on your awareness, and I do invite you to ask other people to hold a mirror up to you, because our brains can get really in the way of our awareness of ourselves, and that's why I invite you to ask for feedback. Now, when we are aligned, when you are aligned and expanded and in trust and making healthy, effective decisions, you're not going to be stepping on people's toes. You're not going to be taking up too much space. And I want to remind you of that, especially if you're a person who gets afraid of being too much. If you're a person who's afraid of taking up too much space, check in with yourself, remind yourself lovingly, like, is this need that I'm having, am I aligned? Am I in my right? You have a right to ask for help, and you have a right to take up some space. And as long as you are in alignment and making a healthy, effective choice for yourself and expressing it in a healthy and effective way, you're not taking up too much space. You need to know that. Also know that, I lost the thought. Also know that you have a right to take up space and have a voice and say you want tacos, even if nobody listens to you. Even if they laugh at you and think that you're a big, crazy, wacko weirdo for wanting tacos. You have a right to take up that space and use your voice to say so. Even if no one listens to you. Even if no one respects you, you have a birthright to say so. And you will never be stepping on toes, and it will be in alignment as long as you are being helpful and healthy and effective in how you express your needs. And that's what this work is asking for. And if you need help learning how to express your needs in a way that is more aligned and expanded and enlightened and awake, let's do work around that. That's my favorite thing to work on. Okay, moving on. The final topic that I have for you with Aries season is the topic of bravery. This is fun. Consider, what would the bravest version of yourself ask for? What would the bravest version of yourself be seeking at any given moment? Be them. Can you be that? What would the bravest version of you want for yourself? What would the bravest version of you do if you had no fear? How will embodying this version of yourself change your world? Write on that. How would it change your world to be the bravest version of you that you can imagine. What would that open up for you? Also consider what would happen in your world if you did not embrace more bravery. What would happen in your world if you were not making decisions from that type of place? What would change? What would not change if you did not adopt more bravery? Big work. Big work. Aries season brings a lot of fire, a lot of invitation, a lot of expansion. There's a lot of opportunity to expand here. And it's so potent. So potent. I hope you're ready to grow. I hope you're ready to grow. Think on these things. Let us know how you're doing in the group. Let me know how I can support you. Let me know if you'd like a private coaching call or two surrounding this work. This is big work, and this is foundational for the rest of the year. In Taurus season, we dive into if Aries is the newborn, Taurus is like the infant or the grasping baby toddler. I have mine. It's a beautiful cycle. So this is very foundational work, and this will take you far. So I hope it's feeling potent. I hope it's resonating with you. Let me know how I can support you as you navigate yourself. Take care of yourself. Express yourself. Consider this season an experiment of self. I love you. See you later. Bye.